Hello again. I am Birdie Sinclair, and I am here to visit raw oysters again with you, part 2. There are those moments in life that just seem to keep coming back. Well, kind of like a bad oyster that you just had to keep tasting again and again. And we might find ourselves thinking, I already thought that. Gosh, I thought I already did this. I thought I did that work. I processed this. What am I doing here with this again? What is with this oyster that keeps popping up? Well, you can extend the metaphor into something about a pearl, right? Go ahead, fine. We really aren't doing the same work over and over again, I promise you. We're exploring something new because we are not the same as we were then. We're here now with new and more experience, different perspective, and something unresolved in us is rolling around back there, like this little grain of sand, and we're figuring things out, right? And that little pearl is growing and it's growing, and hopefully it's a pearl. Sometimes we just get more bitter and inside of ourselves and we're like spitting out bad water, but that's another story. So let me recap about this raw oyster. I had attended this fancy pants event, all dressed up. I was in my mid-30s and I thought, okay, all these people in my family and my friend circle, they love these raw oysters. And my whole life I said, no, not for me. No, thank you. But something was different that night, and they were available, and I decided that I was going to try. So this was going to be the time, and I did. I tried one, and it was so putrid that I actually thought I needed a second one. What? Yeah, that's right. That's what I said. That's what I did. And that was my instinctual response, as if some enlightened moment would move beyond the inedible that I had experienced to reveal some hidden glory. I didn't think any more about my choices, but I did tell the story sometimes because it was so shockingly bad that, right? It was funny. And so it was just so overcoming to all of my senses that it stuck out in my mind. And then one day it just sort of dawned on me that it was stuck in there because there was another question. There was a question trying to get my attention. Why did I need a second oyster? And this whirled around in me for quite a while. So the first raw oyster video playing with this first question is linked. You can check it out and go see it. But now it's been some time, and that brings me here. And I'm still tasting that thing. So I knew this oyster and I still needed a talk. And the true question came to me. Why did I ever need the first oyster? And if I look at that question even more quietly, the really real question under that question is, when did I stop trusting myself? So if I look at myself, especially at that time in my life, yeah, okay, it was an extra complicated time. That is true. Boy, is that ever true. And I also knew if I leaned in even just a little more, that I was playful, that I tried new things, that I liked adventure, I was resourceful, and I would even take you up on a pretty good dare. So what was the evidence that I needed to push myself to try something new or to pull myself into a space that was never of interest to me? No one was egging me on at this time. There was no survival need to eat this thing. How was I feeling like I was somehow not enough? Like I was not bold enough or brave enough or sure enough of myself. And like this little oyster, it was like this fitzy little spark calling me out to pay attention to something. And I just didn't know what. So, big things come from little things. We were once a very little thing. Big adventures come from little ideas, a little bit of planning. Big inventions come from a small moment with an idea. Huge fires come from is a bunny running across my yard. Hi, bunny. Ah. So there's all kinds of really cool things that happen, right? We have these huge fires that come from a tiny spark, and this same spark can have enough power to do incredible things when understood. The bunny's gone. Bye, bunny. There are so many ways that our inner selves try to get our attention. And clearly, so many ways we can get distracted. So for me, my inner self is saying, pay attention. You are believing a lie. You're going to do this crazy thing because you are in some kind of pain, because you have a need to listen to your true self, but you're not doing it. You think you have to do something different to get away from this pain you're feeling. And so you're feeling like you're just not enough as you are. You feel maybe like you're unable to trust yourself, that you don't know which way is up, and you've got to shake things up to make a change. Enter the raw oyster with this deceptive little super cape. These people know something that you don't know. They think this is good, right? I am a thing. Well, that little oyster was not that gateway that it seemed to be. And I knew better, because that was hands down the most disgusting thing I've ever put in my mouth. Maybe a sea urchin was not that good either. It's kind of a close second. Maybe they're tied. But the answer was not outside of me. It was inside of me. I never needed to taste the super oyster. That was the lie. I needed to hear what it was telling me. I needed to continue to trust myself and be still enough to ask, why was I even considering it? Why I may be feeling shaken enough to look away from myself in order to feel different or better or get answers. Of course, we all need support and guidance sometimes, but that's not the same thing. So I think there are these moments that seem so little, but if we're still, if we take some time, knowing that big things come from little things, we can learn. We can learn what's a distraction. We can share just a second or two with ourselves and reconnect. We can let things visit us again and greet them with curiosity. We can understand that revisiting does not mean that we're, doing things all over again. It means that there's something new there for us. It's a new perspective and a new understanding. It might seem like the same old thing, but each time we do something, we have a new experience with it, right? So treat it as a good companion. And even something as small as a raw oyster can bring you further down your path and eventually offer you a pearl. Look, we did it. We tied in the little pearl. There it is. We found the treasure. I also want you to try saying raw oyster 5 times fast. Raw oyster, raw oyster, raw oyster, raw oyster, raw oyster. It's not that easy. So stay curious, have some fun, and I will see you next time. Bye for now, and thanks for sharing these birdie minutes with me.